I'm in trouble. So that's it. Take him out of the mix.
By the way, Dave in Boston, Anthony is busting chops about nerdy and geeky. 2 words. 2 damage.
No, I did. I played something even more nerdy and geeky last night. This is the geekiest thing. There is no real excitement in it. There's a sense of accomplishment, but it's a game where there is, and it takes about 3.5 hours, depending on what I was. Yeah, about 3.5 hours.
Jimmy, get ready to look away.
It was the brand new Microsoft Flight Simulator X that came out, and I flew a 737 from LaGuardia to Orlando Airport in real time. It took 3.5 hours. And yeah, I just did that. I took off. And well, you know why? Because it's you do it the actual way it's done. You don't use anything that, like, you know, the overhead map view to steer yourself like to Florida. You have to use the GPS or the VOR radials that are on the ground, things like that. And you actually use the instruments that are on real planes, the autopilot. And then you crank it up, 35,000 feet, and the graphics are great, so it looks really cool. And then you figure out how everything works. It's amazing. And then when you come in for landing, that's the tricky part.
That's what they say.
That's the tricky part.
You do know that we're shock jocks, right?
It was the geek. It really was stupid. I'm sitting there, and 3.5 hours later, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to land.
Did you have a sense of accomplishment?
Yeah. Even though I hit the runway a little to the right of the runway.
Isn't it true, though, that for most of that time you're doing nothing?
Doing absolutely nothing.
Just kind of looking at the instruments?
The autopilot really takes care of everything. You're just dialing in altitudes and headings, and then you hit the command, and boom, the plane.
Do you think that you could fly a plane tomorrow?
I think I could fly a plane. I think I could fly an airline.
A commercial airliner?
I know where everything is. I know what everything does. There is a feel that you need to the whole thing. Landing would be very difficult.
And you've never flown a plane before. You've just done these...
I flew a Cessna.
Oh, you did?
Years ago. Like, I took one of the...
Did you take off and land, or were you
No.
Or were you like, all right, time to take the wheel?
It was a ride. Yeah, it was one of those. And you take the wheel and kind of do... And that was before flight simulators. But, once you know all the instrumentation and how it works, it's just the feel of it. And landing is a whole other animal. There's a lot involved in that.
Yeah, is there?
Yeah. But it was...
Why wouldn't you hit something on purpose? Why would you do that right? Why wouldn't you pitch it right to the airport?
You do it a couple of times. As a matter of fact, I tried pulling that Yankee left turn into the building.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with a side wind coming, and it is very hard to make that turn with a
of course it
25-mile-an-hour wind.
What do you get out of this?
It's actually, you learn a little something about aviation. The graphics are great, so you can look at places and landmarks and stuff like that all over the globe. There's 25,000 airports all around the world that are really detailed. There's air traffic control, air traffic, ground traffic. So you got to interact with air traffic control. Mm-hmm. There are missions where you actually have to obey air traffic control and go to the proper altitudes for the direction you're flying in and things like that. And it's interesting.
Does it look like the sky's in front of you?
Yeah, it looks really cool. Like the clouds and the weather. You could actually set it for real-time weather. So it checks the weather on the internet, and wherever you're flying, that's the weather that you'll get.
Ew.
So if you like, I took off last night, and it was raining.
Well, you did
it was raining
night,
here
at night?
Yeah.
But then you couldn't see anything.
I know, it's dark.
Well, I wanted to do it real time. You could see, like, the lights are very pretty, and, the moon was full.
How do you look out the side window?
They got a little view thing on the stick. You got a little, it's called a hat switch, and you could turn around. You could look at any portion of the flight deck, and switches and knobs galore for everything, so you know where everything is.
You need a good gaming card?
Yeah, definitely. You really need a top-notch computer, or this thing will just.
And people are really, really into this. They like getting their hours up on this.
Get their hours up. There are I can actually join a virtual. You can make a virtual airline online that you then have to carry out a certain schedule and keep the schedule. And there are other people online. You could fly in formation on these. With stunt planes, with other people online. There's everything from helicopters to commercial jets to stunt planes to small Cessnas. But you learn about aviation.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Watch this.
Hey, chess book.
I'm not saying chess.
Chess book, cool. An 8-year-old online chess play. Whoa, what kind of graphics card you need for a rook?
I said for like 5 minutes I got into it. I don't know. No offense.
It does give you a feeling of
And I'm getting beat up because there's a bunch of listeners out there that do exactly what you were doing last night. I just don't get it on any level whatsoever.
Yeah. You got to be kind of a computer geek and an aviation geek. Like, I love aviation. Yeah. I love the whole...
So why don't you just go for real and start flying lessons?
Because I don't want to end up inside of a building.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of...
All right, that's a good point.
It's a little iffy. I'd rather leave it to the pros.
Let's go to Scott in New Mexico. Scott.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Scott.
I got you beat. I've flown that thing from Kennedy to Hong Kong before. It takes about 14 hours to get it done. But if you go to flightsim.com, I know you're not allowed to promote them, but you can download everything from fighter jets to World War II.
Oh, yeah.
Nazi aircraft. I mean, there's all kinds of.
Yeah, there are people.
I understand there's a community that's really into this, but Scott, you did this in real time. Isn't there a fast forward like?
Yeah. There is.
How do you not hit the fast forward just to get a couple hours done, knowing for a couple hours you're going to do absolutely nothing?
You can accelerate it, but the problem is if you get too many aircraft commands, it'll cut you off your flight plan, and then it won't give any more commands.
See, if you go too fast, it's not just a straight line. You know, when you're in a passenger plane, you're not just flying straight, especially in weather and stuff like that. You got to listen to the air traffic controllers. You got to adjust things like that. So that's why you don't fast forward. You can fast forward though.
Can you turn it upside down the plane?
Yes, you can.
I'd fly upside down and have a fun flight for everybody.
Yeah, why not?
Upside down airlines.
Yes, Scott.
If you flip the GPS switch on the dash of the aircraft, if you flip the GPS switch, you don't even have to enter commands. It'll fly your flight plan, whether it's an IFR plan or a GPS direct route.
Yeah, the GPS really takes any work out of it. You got to use the VORs.
All right. Hey, thank you, Scott.
That makes it a little more fun.
There's a ton of people calling in. They're into this. How are we going to be #1 in Chicago talking about this crap?
Because this is top-of-the-line stuff. Do you know that Microsoft Flight Simulator has been one of the best-selling games since it came out in, like, the early to mid-'80s, when it really sucked. It was pretty much a line for the horizon, and you had, like, one gauge.
Yeah.
And the refresh rate for the screen was, like, you got one frame every 5 seconds. It was pretty much it. And I picked that up and was thrilled with it. I thought it was amazing. Now this one, it's the new one that just came out. It's a Flight Simulator X. And it looks amazing. And the realism, everything from you're at the terminal, you got to make sure you get the proper clearance and radio frequencies for pushback. You got to actually dial in the right radio frequencies for the pushback, taxi, and then departure, and then they hand you off to the different flight air traffic controllers, and then approach.
On the runway?
You could just sit on the runway?
No, but what if
they'll yell at you?
If you don't want to do anything but just fly?
Just fly?
Like you want to just back out and fly?
Yeah. You could do that too. You could just take off.
When do you get fighter jets, like, telling you to land the plane? Can you get that done?
I don't know. They ought to put that in, though.
See, that's the stuff I would, like, experiment with.
I just got it yesterday.
Actually, flying, from New York to Orlando, boring. I would, like, do all sorts of things and see what this game could do.
I just got the new one yesterday.
Yeah, all right.
It's pretty similar to the previous one, but it looks a little better.
You should fly straight up in the air and not come down and just see what happens. Like, keep going up straight.
You will wing over and come down,
All right, that's
all right, listen.
And just wing over and shut your engines off.
Listen,
I've done that. I've shut the engines off.
Could you see the plummeting?
Interesting. Yeah.
Wow,
plummeting.
We could talk about this all morning.
Of course we could, but let's talk chess.
And then we'll watch Whoopi just go right past us in the ratings here in New York. Justin on Long Island, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
Sorry to take it back, but talking about going in the bathroom with a kid, I was at a mall in the bathroom doing my thing or whatever. little kid walks in there. He's going to the bathroom. He walks over to me. He's like, mister, I made a mess on myself. So I said, go wash yourself in the sink or whatever. So I walk out of the bathroom kind of the same time as him, and he goes over to his mother, and he goes, Mommy, I made a mess, but this mister helped me clean it up.
Oh, brother.
The face on that mother was unbelievable, man.
See, that's what you don't need.
See, we got to talk about this a little more after the break.
Take yourself out of the whole situation immediately. Yes, my friend.
I know you're an 18-level wizard. Can't you land a plane with your wand? Very good.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, after the break.
Fly without a plane. I'm a wizard.
After the break, we'll talk about how kids have gotten you in trouble when it was just an innocent situation. Let's get into that. Are we going to do Uncle Willie's tickles today?
I hope so.
No, I don't sit and wear a captain hat in front of my computer.
Yes,
You probably do.
The captain's hat.
You probably do.
Dork.
Oh, my God. He makes believe he used to fly in Vietnam.
I sit in my office with the door locked, and my girlfriend has to have a special knock to come in so I know it's not terrorists.
I'll bet you have a little peephole you put in the door.
Yes. No, I don't.
Let's take a break. We got lots to do still.